Hi everyone, it's Helen here. Thank you so much for joining me today. So today I'm going to be showing you how to make a wrapped cover for your scrapbook album. I'm going to be working with the medium size album, which is this one just here. We have some brand new pre-cut covers, but all the techniques that I'm showing you here today, you can use any size and using your own bits and bobs. So I'll be showing you how to do a wrapped cover with these grey board pieces, how to get the perfect corners. I'll be showing you how to do the corners with a tool, corners with just a pair of scissors, and then on one of these corners I'll be making a mistake on purpose and showing you how you can work around that instead of having to start from scratch again. Let's just salvage what we're making. Okay, so let's jump straight in. So we're going to be making an album this size today using the thinner of the choices with the spine. This is from my brand new collection, Simply Scrapbooks, and it comes with some pre-cut grey board pieces. So you get the 2-inch one there and also the 3/4 of an inch one there. So we're going to be using that today. In the next episode after this one, we're going to be working on this particular album, where I'm going to be showing you how to sew in your pre-cut journal pages, and also using the medium mini album, which is this die set here. This makes these pages with these lovely pullouts as well, so you can make a lovely hybrid album. That'll be in episode 2. So I'm just going to grab my paper pad. You can use plain card here for this, but I'm going to be using the new paper from the paper pad. So let's choose a pretty design from the floral ledger. So I'm going to go for something quite plain, I think. What shall we do? I'm going to go for this blue one, I think. Yeah, so I'm going to get 2 of those. And then I'm going to join them together with a bit of tape. I want my join to be right in the center of the spine, and I will have offcuts going around, and I'm perfectly fine with that, having offcuts, because I can utilize those in the rest of the project. Nothing's going to be wasted with anything that I cut off. So I've just got myself some red tape here. I need to use my Tim Holtz scissors to cut that, and then we're going to join these 2 together. So I'm going to grab my bone folder as well and push all of this adhesive right in. Let's get rid of these. If you're wondering what these are the covers that are on the perspex here on the bookbinding tool. Let's throw those away. Right, so let's lift this up. I'm going to put that straight in the bin, otherwise my cat will play with it. And then we're going to line these up here. I don't think I have enough space. I have got so much stuff on my desk. Right, so you can use the tape as your guide if you put it on straight enough. There we go. Press that down, and then we have our 2 pieces joined together. Let's turn this over, and then we have a nice area here. I'm hoping you can still see. You should be able to see just that line in the center there. Right, so I'm going to do a quick dry run first. So choose your spine piece. We're going to be using the thinner one. Again, I will give you some measurements. This is 3/4 of an inch, and this one here is 2 inches. And just to get the gauge of the size, this is the wider one, 2 inches, and this one here is the more narrow one, the 3/4 of an inch. So we're going to be working with this one today. You could pop this right in the center if you want to. And just a quick dry run, this is what we're going to be making. Right, so adhesive. I need to add some adhesive, and I like to use really wide tape. I will leave a link for this down below, along with all of the links for everything else that I'm using today, including all the new collection. And this is perfect for making great large coverage for your areas, and I do find using the wet glue can kind of make the boards warp slightly. So again, this dry adhesive is absolutely perfect. So I'm just going to cover the whole area, and if you actually have an A4 sheets of this stuff, you can buy it in sheets as well, then that will also be perfect. And again, to cut that, don't worry about your scissors. If you have a stamping block or anything like that with a nice edge to it, you can just do that. Super easy. So just do full coverage on here. This will make sure that when you open and close your album, you won't kind of get lifting in funny places. There we go. Do the same on the other one. Now this one here is a little bit funny. I am just going to use just a thinner one. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to lift this off. When we get to use this piece, I'm going to lift this off and add another strip just to overlap that, because that is a funny old size there. Okay, so I've got everything covered now. Next up, you can either use the block that you just used or a bone folder, or if you have the toolkit here, which is also the bookbinding set and case, you do get a little squeegee thing here if you can press that down. So again, in this video I'll be showing you all the different ways that you can cover your wrapped cover. So just press everything down. This pushes the adhesive right into the fibres of the grey board. I just think it's fantastic that we have this pre-cut, because a lot of people do have a bit of trouble there trying to get this to the right size. You know, you have to either use a craft knife, or if you have a special paper trimmer that will cut through grey board, you've got that too. But this is super easy to have them ready to go. Right, so we're now ready to start playing. I'm going to bring back my piece of paper. Here we go. I'm going to be working in at the centre. Okay, I'm hoping that's not too bright. So we're going to start off with our first piece. So let's take this off, and then we can add our second piece of tape. If I can get this off. This was actually quite a cheap bit of tape. This one is a bit better quality, but really I'm just going for stuff that's in my stash. I have a craft room full of stuff, and I really just want to make sure that I'm using everything properly. So I just need to add a little bit more tape on there. So you will see that a lot of the albums that I've made for this collection, I have taken a few things from my own stash, like the alphabet letters and things for my words. I have a whole box full of them because I'm absolutely obsessed with things like alphabets and words, because I'm a scrapbooker. I've got to have those things. So I need to start using them more often. Right, so I'm just going to pop this right down in the centre. I'm going to leave a good space here. I'm going to try and get that right in the centre, the top and the bottom. Once I'm happy with that, I'm going to press that down. Right, moving on to tools. On this side, I'm going to be showing you with the tools. This side, I'm going to be showing you just an ordinary ruler and scissors. So this is actually out of stock at the moment. I'm hoping we can bring this back. So I'm going to be using the T tool for this side, and also the corner piece. You do get a few other tools here so that you can line things up like this, and this also helps with getting the border around the edge as well. I do have full tutorials on this toolkit on my YouTube channel. Right, let's pop that away. We're just using these two so far. Right, so I'm going to align this piece here so this tucks in perfectly there, and then we're going to take our first board. So this is going to go, just a quick dry run, turn that over, that is going to go right there, and this piece here is going to give us the exact measurement that we need for spacing, because your book needs to be able to close, and if there's no gap there, it's just going to close and your wrapped piece of paper is going to tear and crack, and it's going to really protest in being stretched that far around a little corner, like a 90-degree corner. So it's not going to have fun. and neither will you. So we need to leave that gap. Right, so that is all in place. Make sure this is lined up, and all we do is just poke this in there. Now I know plenty of you already have this kit, and I'm hoping we can bring this back into stock, but if you don't have this kit, I'll be showing you exactly how to do this without. So let's pop on our next one. We're going to be using a ruler for this. I have the Tim Holtz one. It's basically like a quilting ruler. Again, I think you'll be able to find this on Amazon. It's like a quilting ruler for paper crafters, basically. It's a lot smaller, thinner. It does the full 12 inches, and it goes up in 1/8 increments, and it shows also the 1/4 inches. So I'm going to take this measurement here. This is 1/4 of an inch. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn this upside down, and then I'm going to measure. Just choose any of these main lines here. If you have a different ruler like I have here, you can do this with this one as well. Just bear in mind where the 1/4 inches are. It's more obvious on this one. So we're going to go 1/4 of an inch just to this area just there. Okay, so let's take the backing of this one. I'm going to use my pokey tool here just to make this a bit faster. Okay, so in your mind's eye, this is the measurement we're aiming for. I'm going to use this long piece along here to butt this up against as well, and that should give us a straight line. Okay, there we go. Now that was a little bit, I wouldn't say harder, but it took a lot more concentration than using the tool, but it's doable. This here is exactly how I learned to do it, and then I eventually moved over to the tools. Right, so we now need to trim all the way around. Now again, you can use the tool that comes with this, like that. You can just go around with a pencil line and then cut it with scissors, or if you have a mat underneath, you can go round with just like a craft knife. You can just go around with that. I'm just going to use my paper trimmer all the way around. Okay, it's up to you how much you want to cut off, but I will suggest not doing a tiny little strip like that. Do make sure it's about 1 inch all the way around at least. Okay, I've got some decent offcuts here. This will help me decorate the album. This is slightly too long, so what I will do is I will just grab a straight line or a ruler. I will use the actual tool, but if you can grab a ruler as well, you can use that as well. It doesn't matter if these are different widths all the way around. All that stuff is going to be hidden once the album is put together. So let's just grab a pencil and make our line across here. This is like an L shape, so we can then pop that the other side and continue our line. And then I'm going to use some long bladed scissors to cut that out. You can get better lines using the long bladed scissors as opposed to using little ones. So yeah, I've got another piece there. Nice, good sized scraps. Right, so now I'm going to add some adhesive. Now there's loads of different ways that you can do this, little shortcuts that you can take and all that. I think I'm just going to stick with this one, although the red tape will be stronger, but this is just for the instant stick to get it to hold in place. as I'm also going to be using some wet glue as well. I will leave a few links for this for wet glue. This one that I'm using now is no longer available, but there are other bookbinding glues that you can get on Amazon, so go check those out. Okay, so I'm going to add my tape all around the inside. If you've been watching me a while, you've seen me do this a few times, and sometimes I put it at the top, sometimes at the bottom. For this one, I'm just going to put it at the bottom and show you with the glue. Again, if you have a little block, you can use that to tear that. Do the same along the bottom. Again, if you want to, you can add another rim here all the way around the paper bit. Right, so grab your bone folder, or you can go in with your block again and press that right into the adhesive. It just pushes it, gets rid of all the air bubbles, pushes it straight into the grain of the grey board. And it also makes it easier for you to lift the edges, as long as you push the corners in there so you can do easy peels. Right, so this is where we're going to do different things. So as I said before, left hand side of the tools, right hand side with ruler and scissors. We're going to start off with this one here. This kind of slots on to the edge there. And now I need to get myself a little mat, because I'm going to be using my craft knife for this. This is what's going to cut your corner. If I show you on here, we do need a little bit of a gap between the edge of this corner here and this slanted piece cut just there. That means that we get a perfectly wrapped corner. If you cut right up to this corner edge here, you will have an exposed corner basically when you fold everything over, and that's not a great look. I will be doing that on this bottom corner here, and I'll show you exactly what to do to fix that. Pop that on there. You can either use a pencil and then trim it off with scissors, or you can go straight in with a craft knife, which is what I'm going to do. And that cuts off just the right amount. So as I said before, this side for tools, so let's do the other one. There we go. Right, the next thing I'm going to do is show you with the scissors. Now this does take practice, and because I've been making these albums for years and years and years without the tools, I can just make my little cut and it works fine for me. But I do, over the years, throughout my videos, I have had comments of people that always struggle with this bit, and it's great with the tool as well. But just try your best. You can use a ruler and kind of measure off there to get that off the center. So line it up with the edge of this with the corner, and then push it out slightly, grab a pencil and then make your pencil mark. Or if you've done this a few times and you're happy, you can just make one straight cut using your long bladed scissors straight across, just avoiding that. So I think I might need to go in slightly further. You can always take more off, but you can't add more on. There we go. So there is our little cut there. I did go in slightly further than the tool gave me. Obviously, the thicker the cardstock that you are using, the more of a gap you're going to need here. If you're using a thinner paper like I am, this is 190, I can probably go in a little bit closer. I would not go much closer than that at all. That would be my absolute limit. Right, so on this one I'm going to make a boo-boo. I'm going to cut straight up to that corner. There we go. So when I wrap this, that is going to be exposed. Right, time for wrapping. So I'm just going to take all of this adhesive off. Again, it's pretty difficult to do because this grey board here, any grey board you use, hardboard, chipboard, I think in the US you call it, it's going to be just like, I wouldn't say fluffy, fibrous. So anything like sticky like this is going to, you know, have that feature, I guess, of things not peeling off unless you actually get it just right. It's just the nature of it. Right, so I've got all of that done. We are now going to carefully fold up. You probably want to do this before you take off the backing, but just fold this up. Go to about 90 degrees, just so that it's standing up. Don't go any further than that. That's on all of these sides. There we are. Right, so glue time. Again, I like this one, but I also do like the Scotch quick dry, and I like the pin flare bookbinding glue as well. So what I'm going to do, this is upside down because I've got my dodgy corner at the bottom there. We're going to start with the top. We're going to start with the top one first, and I'm just going to add glue all over, up and down. And it's perfectly fine to be using your wet glue alongside your dry adhesive. So the dry adhesive would be the tape. And I'm going one long line across the top and then one long line across the bottom in that little crack fold that we've just created. Let's move back over here a little bit more, and then starting in the middle we're going to fold this over and then work our way down. There we go. Some glue will come out. This stuff's pretty good though. It won't dry sticky. Okay, there is our first one done. Let's turn this over now. We're going to work on the opposite side. Back to our glue, do exactly the same. Okay, and you'll see here that is our exposed corner. It's not pretty to look at. I don't like it at all because it's the thing that I avoid, so I don't like to see it. There we go. Press down with your bone folder so the tape here grabs it, gives it that instant stick, and the glue will dry, and that will keep it there for the long term. Right, so let's move over now to the corners that we did with the tools first. So this is the tool side, ruler and scissors and mistake side. So we're going to take our bone folder and we're just going to fold in with the point of it. Just fold in this little section here and flatten it out so that it's in line with the rest of it. Do the same with the other side as well. This is something that you'll get better at after you've done it a few times. There we go, and if you get any glue on your point, just give that a quick wipe off. There we go. Right, so more glue, exactly the same. And then press that over, and then press down with your bone folder. Again, bone folder will be your best friend for this. Okay, now for our dodgy side. We have a dodgy corner here, and this isn't dodgy at all, it's just one we did with the scissors. So we're just going to fold that over. There's nothing to fold over here because we cut too much off. So I'm just going to add my glue. Okay, can you see what a difference that has made because I trimmed off about 1/8 too much. I trimmed off 1/8 too much and it's given me that corner. So this is why we leave a little bit of a gap all the way around, so on that corner there. Okay, that's exactly why we do that, otherwise you will end up with something that looks like that. This is making me very unhappy. I don't like it. Turn that over. It's really not the best. It hasn't wrapped properly. I could probably point it around a bit more, squish that in, but let's fix this. I advise having one of these, I really do, if you're into your bookmaking and junk journals and mini albums and things. It's just great to have all of this choice. Let's open this up. I've got loads of stuff in here. Right, so we have these little corners here. You can get these from Amazon, really quite cheap. These are basically just book corners, and you do need a pair of pliers as well just to squeeze them in. So I've just grabbed myself 4 of those. I'm going to do a dry run because I'm not going to attach them just yet, because I want to put a liner on here as well. But these just literally just slide on like that. I will make sure that my liner kind of goes to at least an 1/8, maybe a 1/16 of an inch all the way around. And then that will cover all of this mistake, and it will cover this exposed corner there. So if you do have an exposed corner or you make a mistake, you can just cover that up and then use a pair of pliers just to squeeze that closed, and that is what it's going to look like from the other side, which is really quite pretty actually as well, and it does add some sturdity and longevity to your album. So I'm going to pop these aside and I'll pop those on at the end. So let's do our liner. So this is actually a very long piece. This is longer than the 12 inches. As you can see, this is a little bit longer. Actually, I have this. Let's just use that. It's 13¼ inches. So I am actually going to cover this central piece here, and then a mat here and a mat there. So I can go back to this piece here for there. So I have, yeah, we'll use that one, and I'm going to cut this to, there is a measurement, I'll pop it on the screen, 6 3/8 high. So my my paper trimmers, they all have this funny no man's land here where that measurement is. So I'm going to use the paper trimmer that I can see the 6 3/8, which is my Fiskars one, my bypass, but you can just make a pencil notch at 6 3/8 and then just use your paper trimmer as it is if you've got that funny no man's land. So 6 3/8 is there for me. There we go. And then we need to cover this with some double-sided tape, because this area here in the center, when you fold these up, any liner that you put in here is going to want to kind of buckle and lift up. So we need like edge to edge adhesion for that as well. So let's pop that on with some of this double-sided tape as well. You will find with the mini albums is you'll be using quite a lot of tape, and that's not a bad thing. You might be using and consuming quite a bit to make it, but this is what helps it, you know, stay as a book and not fall apart and be good for the long term. You want a really good quality made album, and by doing all of these steps and using a decent amount of coverage for things, not cutting corners, then you are really going to have a really good, well made album in the end. I will be adding glue to this as well, because I know sometimes, depending on what humidity levels that you live in, whatever part of the world you are, this can eventually just peel off, dry out and not work, basically not holding your book together. So definitely use the glue as well. So I'm going to go all the way around with this in there, and then I'm also going to go edge to edge on these as well. These are the weak points, these edges here. This is where it wants to lift up when you close it and open it. There we go. Right, so pop this down. Now I have chosen a piece of paper that matches the cover, and I have cut this to 6 3/8 because that is the height of the medium album pages, which means when I add the pages, I can use this as a guide. Now again, all the tips and tricks I've shown you today, popping this together, you can use any size if you're just making a mini album from scratch. If you're using any of my mini album dies, it's all going to work together. Right, so I'm going to leave that as is now. I'm not going to try and fold it or do anything. I am literally just going to pop that aside to dry, and then I will make our mats for this. Actually, I do have some pre-cut things. Let's see if they're all right. Are these the right size? I do believe they are. So I can either go with the pattern. This is where I need to make my choice now, because with this collection launch that I'm just doing, Simply Scrapbooks, I have this sort of themed paper with the washi tape. So this is where the choice, this is the hard thing, I think, is the choices. So we have the pattern papers, the washi tape, and we have the journal pocket card sets, or we have more of like the junk journaling type of thing as well. So I think I will move more towards the decisions. I'm going to go for this one. I absolutely love that look, and I just want to make loads of things with it as well. So let's move that aside, and we will go with the blue. Move that. I can use that for another one. And the plan is for this particular album, I'm going to make a very similar junk journal to this one here with the tea dyed papers. These are all pre-cut papers as well. I'll leave that all linked down below. They come in a pack, so you can make loads of signatures with those. Those ones in particular have been tea dyed. So in the next episode after this one, I'll be making another album and showing you how to put the pages in, stitch them in, and then also how to add the medium album pages too. So let's give you a measurement for these. I didn't give you that. So this measures 5 5/8 by 6 3/8. Right, so I don't want to bend this just yet, but I will add my corners on now. So now, where are my pliers? I do have some handy, she says. Right, so let's cover this monstrosity here of an exposed edge. So let's pop these on. Again, these come in different colours. You get them in silver, rose gold, lots of different types, lots of different shapes as well. You can get bigger ones too. So I'm going to slot that on. Then I'm just going to carefully pinch, make sure it's on the corner. Then I'm just going to carefully pinch each side. There we go. There we go. That is now on, and there is our first corner. So let's do the same on the other corners. Even though these are perfectly wrapped, I want to make sure my album matches. Okay, so I've got all of my little corners on there now. Really like that. Right, so let's get folding now. This should have dried. Ideally leave it for a couple of hours, but I'm impatient, so it's had long enough, I think. So I'm going to use my ruler here, my Tim Holtz one. Just gently lift that up, and then you'll get a natural crease and a fold there. So lift that up, and then you can also take your ruler, very gently do this and fold that. That is going to push the paper right into that fold, that gap that we left when we made it with this tool here. It's almost invisible. And then lift that up, and then do the same on the other side as well. So this is why we added so much glue and adhesive to this middle bit, because I can already see some of it lifting up. So we'll deal with that in a moment. So just lift that up there, and then go back to your bone folder and press everything down again. So let's close this now. Here is our wrapped cover, ready for you to add your pages. So again, have fun, with whatever mini album that you are making. These covers are specifically sized for the medium album die set, so you get the page die here, you get the spine and the larger spine, as well as the index tabs and some pockets and accessories. And that actually makes this album right here. This is without the hard backed cover, so you get the pages there and also the index tabs there as well. So as this is a thinner one, I would probably only put one spine piece in here. For this particular one, I'm actually going to be sewing in some of the signature pages. So by signature, I mean I'll take about a bunch of 5 of these, and then you can stack them together to make one little booklet. That's a signature, and then we can sew that in. I'll be using this tool here. This is leading on now to episode 2, so the video coming out after this one. I'll be showing you the exact thing that I'll be working on. I need to pop that on a little tighter. I'll get my pliers out and redo that one. What album I'll be working on in the next one? We're going to be working on this one. So I'm filming everything backwards. So this is the album we're going to be working on in the next video. I'll be sewing in the signatures here. This is my booklet. We're sewing it in. The kit does come with everything you need to get started, and I've also got a guide for you as well on where to make your markings to get this precise. So we're going to be sewing this in. We're going to be making holes in the back of the album there in the spine piece. Then we will also be adding in the mini album pages from the die set that I just showed you as well. So these are cut directly from the patterned paper. There we go. So, and there's also one at the back as well. So this is a proper hybrid book, and I haven't decorated it on purpose because we're going to be filling this out together. This book, it says all about me, and I'm going to be popping in here my favorite things, the things that make me quirky, favorite places, little stories and things that I like. So I really encourage you to start your own all about me. Definitely give it a go. It doesn't have to be in a mini album like this. If you just have a notebook that you can fill out and put things in, little photographs, any book will do. This is the one that I'm going to be working with at the moment. Right, so everything that I've used will be listed down below. I hope you really enjoyed this one. Lots of handy tips and hints for making the perfect cover. So thank you guys for joining me today, and I'll see you again in the next video.